Boom shakalaka. Good morning. Welcome to Spirituality. Come wild. It's time for a Cuppa Grata. I'm Debbie G. Cuppa Grata, that's a shot of expression and 2 squirts of reality. This morning, I have the coolest guest. We're going to be getting into some serious vibration today. Law of attraction, vibration, and how to get you happy on. Oh my gosh. So the guy who's coming on is just gentleman, excuse me, not just a guy. It was somebody that I had met recently during a summit that we did with David Strickle. Now, you all know the Stream of David. We love the Stream of David. And he always brings these cool people for me to meet. I'm about to introduce you to him. His name's Walt. So Walt Thiessen began doing LOA, that's Law of Attraction, today. LOA Today. Isn't that cute? I like that. 8 years ago. And he just doesn't want to stop. I'm really glad about that. This show's subtitled Your Daily Dose of Happiness, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. And that's the goal with every episode. And it's 5 days a week. Damn, that's a commitment. Let me tell you what. He's so grateful that he has 8 co-hosts who know more than he does to help keep each episode fresh and alive and a whole lot of fun. Speaking of a lot of fun, welcome, Walt.
Thank you, Debbie. Good to be here. I love it.
It is so good to be here. I am stoked to have you. And I just want to say hi, good morning to everybody popping on. Anna Prabha, hey, gorgeous. I haven't seen you in a bit. Kim, it's good morning. Good morning. You guys, who are you grateful for today? You know how it rolls. And, well, who are you grateful for today?
Actually, it's probably a shorter list to say who I'm not grateful for, to be honest. I mean, it starts with my wife, Louise, who we've been together now for 21 years. And it goes through my 8 co-hosts on the show and people who had previously been co-hosts with me and all the guests who I've known and the people I've known online who have influenced me and my friends who have influenced me. And the list just goes on and on. If you want me to list them all, we're going to be here like the whole show doing it. So I'm just giving you a little, heads up.
Okay, so the whole show is going to be about Walt's gratitude moments.
Okay. All right. I'm up for it.
And actually, I really, really love that. I have new glasses, Walt. I'm really all excited about this,
Very, very sharp. I like those.
It is kind of cool, but I'm not used to them. And so I'm just kind of being some strange adjustment, I'm really grateful for my glasses, everybody. A lot of people, they have to wear glasses like their whole life. Me, well, I have, and I love that. And I love that. But I've never had to wear glasses. Okay. So my experience was, this is such a gratitude moment, I swear. I go to the eye doctor and I'm thinking by now, because my eyes get strained, I'm on the computers a lot, I'm doing, whatever. And I'm thinking my eyes are shot. Like, oh, I just know. I've had 20/20 and I'm thinking, oh, here we go, right? Because I've hit almost 53 and I'm just certain that this is going to happen. My mom said, just wait. So I go and I'm a slight bit nearsighted. So he's like, you can get some reading glasses, over the counter. I'm like, yeah, but I want pretty ones.
Sure, why not?
So then I had to get, rhyme or reason was, honestly, because these stop the glare. And I was like, oh, this is exciting and I'm loving this. And so I got it really excited about getting my very first pair of glasses like it was Christmas morning. Now is that, do you get excited about like every pair of glasses you get like a little kid?
I don't know that I get excited about each pair of glasses. I'll tell you what I do get excited about, and this is going to sound a little strange. About, I'm going to say 10 to 12 years ago, I lost the straight ahead sight in my left eye, macular degeneration.
Okay.
In combination with a retina tear that I didn't know that I had.
Okay.
And that the doctor didn't detect properly, and so never got repaired properly. So I literally have vision in one eye. And so even when I'm just getting a new pair of glasses, I'm just glad I can see. To me, that's the beauty. I don't really care what the glasses look like. I care about the fact, oh my God, I can still see out of my right eye. And
I love this.
I'm also to the point, and I have been for the last few years, where I'm going to try to do the impossible. I'm going to manifest eyesight back in my left eye. Medical science says that can't be done. I say, yeah, watch me. And that's what's going to happen.
I believe you. I love okay, so I take it you must dig like Joe Dispenza too.
Oh yeah, I like Joe. Yep.
Me too. And I love epigenetics. The
Hmm.
idea that our biology is ran by our belief system is a really big concept that I encourage everybody to at least explore, no matter how crazy it might sound, because I believe that that is true. So, hey, Walt, tell us about you. How in the world did you step into the LOA today? How did this happen?
Out of desperation. Honestly, that's the way it started.
Desperate. He was
Yeah.
desperate.
I got exposed to the movie The Secret 2 years after it came out. So that would be 2008. It was right as the
Yeah.
financial crisis had hit,
Mhm.
within like a month of that. Um, I was self employed at the time, doing websites for nonprofit organizations, very small nonprofit organizations.
Okay.
And as you might imagine, 95% of them got wiped out. So my business got completely wiped out because of the financial crisis.
Uh-huh.
I was in desperate financial straits. I was depressed. My wife, God love her, my wife is a former psychotherapist, which is a great thing, actually. Being married to, you would think it kind of works either way, but
Yeah,
being
yeah.
married to a psychotherapist is one of the best things you can do because she knew what was going on and she had a great way to deal with it. What she
Okay.
would do at the depths of my depression, she would come up to me, and I'm pretty big. I'm 6'8". You can't really tell on camera, but I'm a big guy. Okay. She'd come
Mhm.
to me, she'd push me down on the couch, she'd climb on top of me, grab me by the shirt, and say, "Snap out of it." And it worked because it would make me laugh. And then she
Oh.
would explain to me, "Do you realize everything coming out of your mouth these days is negative?" And I didn't know that. I
Mm.
was not aware of that at all. I knew I wasn't feeling good. I knew we were in trouble financially. I knew that we didn't even know if we were going to be able to make the rent for the next couple months.
Right.
But I didn't realize that everything coming out of my mouth was negative. And that's about the time that I saw The Secret. And I saw it and I said, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. It left some questions unanswered, as I think it does for a lot of people who see it, but it was enough
Absolutely.
to stimulate me. And I got to thinking about it. And about like 6, 7 months after that, my brother, my sister-in-law, my wife and I were in our dining room. We just had some lunch. And I brought it up kind of a little bit scared because I never brought it up with either my brother or my sister-in-law,
Uh-huh.
and found that they were kind of interested too. So I said, why don't we do a podcast together? And it just went over like a brick. I mean, it went nowhere at all. So I let it fall for a bit. And then I couldn't let it go anymore. About 5 months after that, actually starting on my wife's and my 13th wedding anniversary, I said, okay, I'm going to start doing a podcast. And I asked my wife if she would do the first episode with me.
Oh,
So
wow.
I,
I'm just like, I want one of you just at some point. I really do. Okay, but okay, sorry, I just had to say
That's
that.
all right. That's all right. So, I mean, you can see where I was coming from. I was literally
Yeah,
trying to claw my way back, whatever way. I didn't know how to do it. I was just
yeah,
trying whatever I could do. I figured, if I start a podcast, maybe I can find some experts to come on. They can teach me how this stuff works. That would be cool.
yeah. Well, it is how it works, right? Because we get
Yeah,
to. I, this is a big secret, though. You're letting our cat out of the bag there,
I
Walt.
know. I
Oh
know.
my gosh. Jeez, Jiminy Cricket. So yeah, when you're sitting on this in this seat and you're interviewing people from all over the world doing amazing work out there, that are raising the frequency and vibration of this universe. Man, it is like being in school all the time. I love
Absolutely.
I freaking love it. I mean, that's oh, okay. So I just got to tell you, 2008 was a rock year, right? I mean, damn. Yeah, I've six figures, went to six figures to zero. Right there with you on all of this. By the way, my son's 6'7". I got how tall you are.
Aha.
Yeah, we come from the land of the gargantuans, Walt.
Okay. Okay. That's cool.
Okay. Okay, good. So that we're all clear on that. Our little teacup is on here right now, Anna Prava. She's just a little teacup. So I want to just there was somebody who said I got to bring it up here. Was it you, Kim? Let me look and see here. Kim said something something. So Kim's just going off today. I'm just going to start bringing it up. So
I love
Kim
when
said,
listeners do that, by the way.
I'm sorry.
I love it when listeners go off like that. I think it's great.
Oh yeah, I'm grateful for living in the moment. I love that. Hey,
Yes.
Mullenbet, Mullenbet. I haven't seen you in a bit. Where you been, girl? Help negative. Uh-huh. Yep. Negative brings negative. Yep.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. Connection is key. Mm-hmm. And she comes from leprechauns. Good. You know, I'm really glad, Kim, that you come from the leprechauns because we come from the land of the gargantuans. So we're really a good team. I'm telling you, we can all be green. That's all I know. Anna Prabha loves being a teacup. She's the cutest darn teacup you'd ever want to see. She's just, you know, when you come from this big land, these cute little teacups, you just love them. They're just adorable. You just put them on
sure.
just keep them. I just love them.
Yeah.
So one of the key things I heard you talking about is that you stepped into it, you watched The Secret, and I love that. And you're right, there's some stuff in there, but it gets you thinking. That's what I dig about it. It really kind of got us all on that pathway, right? But I also heard you say that you stepped into a space of the unknown. You're like, I really want to know this stuff, but you like stepped into service immediately, because to go in and help others to have their story be heard is stepping into service. So I think that that's a really remarkable thing. So you and your wife, you start this podcast, LOA Today.
And we get 20 minutes into it and we find that the recording isn't working.
Oh, shit.
We were recording nothing.
Practice run.
Yeah, no kidding. That's what it was, you know.
Jeez.
So then we started all again, and it came out. I mean, this is really before a lot of the blogging and talk radio and podcasting services were out there. There were a couple of them, but there wasn't a whole lot at that point. And so I was just basically doing it off of software that I kind of pieced together, and it came out terrible. It sounded horrible and so forth, but it got it going. And my wife lost interest pretty quickly. From that day to this, she's convinced anytime she does a show, we have technical issues. So I don't get her on very often. But it actually worked out over time. And very slowly, I ironed things out. And it got to the point where I got some pretty cool people visiting me, joining me on my podcast. And like you said, I was learning a lot. I was learning a ton. I was filling in the gaps that were missing in my mind in The Secret, and learning about other teachers I didn't even know about. For instance, when the Secret came out and when I watched it, I had no idea who Abraham Hicks was. I had no clue that they were the original Secret. I had no idea that the cruise that they run is where it was recorded. None of that. I knew nothing about that at all.
Mind-boggling, right?
It was a shock when I heard about Abraham Hicks. Like, Abraham Hicks, what the heck is that? Is that like a coffee or something? I mean, what is that? But it was great. And when I finally, I think it was, what was the first book of theirs I read? I don't remember which one it was. But when I started to read it, I was just like blown away. For the first time in my whole journey, I was actually getting detail. And I love detail. I mean, I love detail. For me, details are how you get to the big concepts. So it was just, and from that point on, it was just like one wonderful step after another, learning this stuff while going through some of the worst hell in the world at the same time.
Isn't that fun? I tell you, it's amazing how that works. But a lot of people, actually, this was something that Paula and I were talking about yesterday. Okay, so you guys will be seeing my interview with Paula. She interviewed me. I was on the hot seat that time, but we talked about that. So yeah, this amazing. I mean, okay, listen, I just really, I want to know something.
Okay.
Without your dark, you wouldn't know your spark, right?
True.
Tell me, how grateful are you for all that shit that was happening at the time you were going through trying to get this podcast going, but yet you just kept going? What was the change that happened? Because you got out of the negative. What did it?
Time and continuing to go after it. I can't say that I had this enlightenment moment that other people talk about. I never had that. What I had was a slow enlightening. And as time went on, and I realized, this is the biggest thing that I learned all throughout that route, as I realized that nothing was going to happen until I completed working on myself, and I would never complete working on myself. That meant I had to be working on myself all the time.
Yep.
And when I finally got that, and finally started to take steps, starting with like little things, like starting with affirmations to begin the day, and nothing would come out of it, so I had to do a little bit more, and do a little bit more. And as I kept doing more and more, things started to change very slowly. And then it got to the point where now I started doing it irregularly, my podcast. Then I went to doing it once a week with a wonderful gentleman named Joel Elston, who I'm still very good friends with.
Joel, say that again?
Joel Elston.
Okay.
He's a life coach based in the Richmond, Virginia area.
Okay.
Talk about horror stories. You want to listen to his horror story. I mean, that's another.
Well, actually, there's something about those horror stories that I love, and that is that they're just a story.
Yeah.
Things that we go through, the attachment to them is the issue. The way that we perceive them is the issue. The
Yeah.
solution is within the gratitude. And you see, I find it so this God spark. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Um, for me, it was more of that feeling of feeling into that gratitude moment.
Yeah.
What I'm imagining here is that as you were shifting, because for me it was about perspective. Do you think that maybe your perspective was shifting from how that
Oh
you were
God,
seeing it
yes.
before? So okay, so and then did you feel into that? Saying I'm grateful and feeling that gratefulness come up in you is so different, and that is that God spark. That's that moment you become just at one-ment with divine intelligence, or however you all want to term it.
Mhm.
Did you feel that as you were going through that
That was what I was slowly building into. Again, there was not a single
yeah,
moment where it just kind of exploded. It happened slowly over time, but it did get to the point where doing a show once a week wasn't enough because I was realizing I was liking it. I was really liking it a lot. So about what was it, 3 or 4 years ago, I decided to do it 5 days a week. In fact, I decided at the time to do it 5 days a week, twice a day. I was like addicted to it, That lasted for about a year, and then I quit. I burned out doing it that way, so I kind of toned it down to once a day, 5 days a week. But from that point on, it was like an addiction, but without 5 months of therapy afterward. It was just like wonderful addiction because you could just keep going and going and going and never overdose. Like, yeah, give me that. So people talk about finding their passion. I found my passion, and I didn't even realize I was going to find my passion doing that.
amazing. I love that though.
Yeah.
Because we go with your gut, and you went with your gut. I mean, you said you got into this out of desperation. I think that's a kick in my butt right there. You got into it out of desperation. Oh, Lord help me. I got into it kicking and screaming, so I'm glad that yours was out of desperation. Mine was kick and screaming bloody murder. Just
Yep.
like, ah! You want me to do what? What?
Yep.
I mean, the audience is Kim saying, I feel that's what you're saying, Kim. Let's try it again. It's a fantastic feeling listening to how the pennies drop and how amazing our stories are, all different, but yes, bringing us to the same vibration. Exactly. Exactly. And Anna Prabha said she's separated from her husband because he just wouldn't snap out of it. And
Mm.
so I love what Anna Prabha is asking. What do people get? I think is what she's asking out of being negative. And is it a way of self-protection?
It's a
What's your
great question, and in fact, this is something that you and I did the Stream of David Summit with Daniel Mangana, and
Yes,
Daniel
we
and I
did.
were talking about this exact thing yesterday. So once
Love
again,
it.
synchronicities,
Rock
right?
it. Let's do it. Let's talk about
And
that.
and one of the things we both agreed on was that there's always a payoff to being negative.
Yeah.
People don't be negative just because they want to be negative to piss somebody else off. It's because they're getting some value out of it. It's not necessarily something that we would like when we look at stuff from a positive perspective, but there's always a payoff. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep doing it. And sometimes we call it the comfort zone. I like to call it the familiar zone because it's really, very, very comfortable. But it's familiar. We're used to it. And so we know we're going to get that same payoff every single time. And it's going to be different from one person to the next, one situation to the next. But there's always that one payoff that just keeps us going. So that's why we stay in the negative. To me, the better question is, why do we want to climb out of the negative?
Straight up. I love this. And if I can expand on it just for a sec.
Sure.
Um I believe in my world, my negativity was something one learned, taught. It was a belief system. I was taught just how I would see things by listening to mumbling, grumbling, complaining, right? Nagging,
Yep.
and whatever. I would hear a lot of complaining about what he was doing or she was doing, kind of thing growing up. The negativity was kept me and my victim growing as an adult.
Sure.
So listen, it's so much easier to just stay stuck because it's what we know, as you said, and it's what's familiar, as you said. And to break the pattern is to actually say that you forgive, you move on, and it's over.
Yeah.
Going through Taya boot camp, I have learned to appreciate every transgressor I've ever had, Walt.
Good for you.
I have learned that that every situation was for my good. You know, negative to me, and I still can turn into the biggest negative Nelly on the planet when I am when I get real tired. Ana Prabha, is this true or not true? If we're not resourced, like if we are not well resourced, we can get negative. Well, have you ever been freaking tired? You've been going for 12, 15 hours for days on end. This just happened to me. I just lost my cookies, not but a bit ago, and you're just going and you're working and you're blah, 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 and there's no real reason why you blow, but it's just because you haven't taken any time. That's when my negative Nelly comes out, my Debbie Downer. And to turn Debbie Downer right side up sometimes is a feat of only the divine, only of God, believe me. So what I love that Ana Prabha and the expansion that you brought that brought in this conversation. She's saying that often people get positive reinforcement for being negative.
Yes.
Dude, totally. And that's why okay. So it is if you children. Walt, do you have kids?
We do not, no.
Okay, well, your dog. Do you have a dog?
2 cats, Joy and Harmony.
All right. Well, Joy and Harmony. Joy and Harmony, if they're naughty and you give them a treat, they're going to be naughty again, aren't they?
Yeah, it doesn't work too well.
All right. When when I'm being naughty and I get a treat, my old relationship, no. No, it reinforces in children. It does. Yes, I totally believe that if you reward a behavior, if you reward it, and that is called not setting your boundaries straight. Boundaries is like, but they're doing this. No, they're actually not. I just didn't set a boundary and boop, it's back on me again. So how did you snap out of it? For me, self-accountability. What did responsibility and accountability look like in your life?
Well, it looked a few different ways. Again, being married to a former psychotherapist helps a lot.
I bet.
And one of the ways that it helps is that one of the things that my wife Louise used to teach her clients when she was in practice was the concept of HALT, H-A-L-T. Are you familiar with that one?
I am, actually.
Hungry,
go ahead.
Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. If you're feeling any of those things, stop whatever you're doing.
Yep.
That's basically what that means. So if you're feeling anything like that, it's time to let that higher power in and just go take a nap or take a break or just get out of what you're doing right now. And just by remembering that HALT acronym, anytime that I was feeling not well in some way, I knew to stop. Just, okay, I just needed to get away from what I'm doing. Whatever it is, I just need to get away from it for a moment.
Yeah.
The second thing that I learned was the value of walking. Walking for me became a tremendously powerful tool for snapping negativity, basically breaking it in half. And again, my lovely wife, is the one who taught me how to do it. It's not just about walking, it's about noticing. So in other words, whenever I'm out on one of my walks, we have these rails to trails paths through our town. So that's where I usually go, lots of nature around and so forth. She taught me, go find a flower while you're walking and then go up to the flower, notice what color it is, see if it has a scent, look inside and look at the stamen inside, look at how it's arranged, look at the colors of it, look at the shape of it. Is it beautiful? And basically appreciating in fine detail what you're seeing. And the first time I did that, I thought she was nuts. The second time I did that, I thought she was nuts. After about 30 days of doing it, I finally realized what she was talking about. Because it completely distracts you from all that craziness that you're dealing with.
Wow. I love this. Yeah. I love this because you reminded me of a memory I have. It was, well, I got to tell you, when spirit talks, right? There's always these confirmations. So I want to share with you a confirmation that's coming through right now. This morning, I noticed outside, I live 2 miles from the beach and it's beautiful. But it's foggy froggy today.
Okay.
But I looked and I thought, Wouldn't it be it would be really great to actually go out and walk. And then I started thinking about how possibly it might be a great idea for me to start getting up an hour early, er, Allie, earlier. That's like 5, and seriously, and start walking.
Hmm.
Now, the other part that the confirmation came in is that I used to do this exact thing.
Really?
Yeah, this was like before I started Blog Talk Radio, way back in the day before on this journey, I would go walk down the street and I'd be talking to my friend Bobby, who was alive at the time. Obviously, he was, well, yeah, I talk to him now still. He's just not physically here.
Of course.
But anyway, we would be talking and we would talk about that, noticing the flowers and noticing the intricate details that we stop with. And I love this because it's how do we find our gratitude moment in life when life's hit the fan, you're really having a tough time of it, and you're like, I don't know how to shift this. Going up to your sink and turning on the water and just feeling it flow and the softness of it, or appreciating the people who built the roads you're driving your car on, appreciating the people who were working in the factory to put your car together,
Yep.
appreciating the people that made my glasses, appreciating the people that made the clothes, appreciating all of the people and the processes that it took for us to live the existence that we live. And that's really a key component. So what you just said is literally one of the biggest tools, any besides your breath.
Yeah.
Besides your breath, I should mention when you're walking, you want to breathe. Don't hold your breath.
If you walk often enough, you're going to learn it anyway. I mean, it's just going to come
It's
to you.
gonna happen. I love it. But yeah, thank you for bringing forward one of the biggest tools that I think mankind has forgotten. And God bless you. Humana.
It was self-defense, literally. I mean, it was survival. Whatever I could do to get out of that place I was in, because it was such a miserable place to be, and walking became one of my favorite ways to do it. It got to the point where I would walk miles, miles and miles. I just couldn't stop. And when I
Right,
get back, it's like
Forrest.
I want to go out again. Once again, being addicted to something healthy, you know.
I love it, Forrest. I love it. Forrest Gump. I was just running. Just saying.
Yep.
Cheers to
I
that.
was just walking. That's all. I was just walking.
He's just walking. I love this. Good morning, Jody. Hi, sweetheart. Nature gets us out of ourselves. Oh my gosh, I want to bring. Walking is the best. Look at this, Walt. You manifested a wonderful, positive woman. Isn't that lovely?
Absolutely true.
Lucky
I
dog.
am just so grateful every day to have Louise as my wife. Absolutely.
I love this. Appreciate God's nature. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. You have a best. Kim, you have a best friend, Bob, no longer in the physical. Well, God bless you. Mine was Bob Miller, and he was practice gratitude success. And I always say he kind of got me on that journey. But what he did is he reignited the passion I had about gratitude, because I used to, when my kids were little, they don't remember. I don't know how our kids just don't remember anything. But anyway, he just doesn't remember. Doing gratitude lists every single night. There's a big shift though that happened with Bob, and that was looking at the who in our life. And in my life, there's been lots of who's. Dr. Wayne Dyer was one of my big who's.
Mm-hmm.
I was really appreciative for the work he put out. You mentioned Abraham Hicks.
Mm-hmm.
It must be why you were attracted to David Strickle, the Stream of David.
I guess. I mean, I was introduced to David by Dan Mangana.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't. Oh, you everybody's connected, and I love
Yes.
this.
Oh yes.
So, Abraham, did you start following her work?
Oh yeah. Oh, I read all of the books. I mean, I actually didn't go to a workshop until about 2 years ago, but I watched them all on YouTube, and I literally went through every single book that I could find of theirs. And then I started talking about it on the show. My co-host and I would go through page by page. We'd discuss it and so forth. So I felt like I was really getting an in-depth graduate level course in Abraham Hicks, and it paid. It paid off handsomely.
I love this. So I take it, yeah, well, because I mean, you've been doing this for so long now, 8 years. I mean,
Yeah.
so you've been practicing the law of attraction.
What I've
And
actually been conscious, what I've actually been practicing is conscious creation.
ooh, we like that conscious creation. That's gorgeous. I love that. You've been practicing conscious creation, and I love that. Give us some great tools and tips. Let's talk about conscious creation. What does that look like?
It looks like trying to do the Abraham Hicks thing of pivoting. Every time that I explore something, particularly something I don't like, I try to find something about it that I do like.
Yeah.
It's constantly looking for that silver lining in every situation, especially the uncomfortable ones, especially especially the ones that are just pissing you off.
Oh, those are the hardest, right? Oh my God. Those are so hard. Holy mother of God.
It's one of the most powerful things I know. And in fact, when you practice doing that,
Yeah.
particularly with the hard ones, it's easy enough to do with the easy ones and then you lose interest pretty quick. But when you do it with the hard ones, well, first of all, you say the first time you try it, you say, I can't do this. And then the second time you say, I can't do this. And then the third time you think of something. Okay, I thought of something that time. And the fourth time, I can't do this. And then the fifth time you think of something else. And then you start stumbling into them over time because you kept trying to do it.
Yeah.
And it's so effective.
Oh
Um,
my.
Another tool that I use, this is one of my favorites. Are you familiar with the idea of mirror work? Jack Canfield is one of the people who promotes
I
it.
love mirror work. Yes, yes. Let's talk about that.
So the first time that I tried to do mirror work, it was exactly the same experience. You're supposed to stand in front of the mirror and you're supposed to tell yourself, I love you, and why you're building up your own self-esteem and so forth. So the first time I look in the mirror and I said, oh God, I'm not going to do this. And so I kind of said, like, out of the corner of my mouth, I love you, and looked away, and I was done for the day. The second day lasted about 10 seconds longer. The third day, about 15 seconds, 20 seconds. After 20 days, almost nothing had happened, but I did notice that the tapes that were playing in my head had kind of gotten a little bit quieter. So I said, well, okay, maybe this is actually getting somewhere. And then by day 30, the tapes had gone quiet. And I didn't notice it at first until I went to talk about it on my podcast with one of my co-hosts and tell her what I've been doing. And then I realized, oh my God, my mind is silent most of the time. And it was so different. Instead of having all that stuff driving me crazy minute by minute, second by second, it was gone. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, what a relief. And so I became a fan of mirror work after that because it was the first time I ever did a 30-day program that actually did something.
I really love this. Well, I do believe that anything that we practice for at least 21 to 30 days becomes an actual, it starts to become embedded and engraved into our
It does.
psyche,
Yeah.
into our DNA. Mirror work. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell everybody a little secret about me right now. So the mirror work I started to, the I am statements and all that too. But I have a but. I didn't believe any of it at all.
I didn't
Now,
either.
now, the other day I looked in the mirror and I went, "You're just so darn cute."
I love it.
I said, "Just keep doing that." Right? I mean, now I know that seems like a far stretch, but the fact of the matter is that well, I am single. I don't have anybody around to tell me I'm adorable. So I have to tell myself I'm adorable. I like to be adored, so this is why I tell myself I'm adorable.
Sure.
It has taken so much work to get to that space, though. And I love that you're sharing this because what I'm imagining is that it may not have always been this way for you. If you had to really start working on telling looking at yourself differently through mirror work and through all of these things. So you had some belief systems that just weren't flying. For any of you out there that think that it's not just magic. I'm imagining we talked about that. Without your dark, you wouldn't know your spark.
That's right. Yeah. And in fact, it isn't so much about knowing your dark, although that's important. It's recognizing you don't have to stay there. I mean, it's one thing to be told you don't have to stay there, but it's another thing to recognize it inside, to realize I really don't have to stay there. I can actually climb out. It is possible for me to climb out. And I'll tell you one of the biggest aha moments that I had. Up until the time that I first saw The Secret and started trying to practice this stuff, I firmly believed that my emotions were outside of my own control. I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I had been trained to believe in my life. So that literally something had to happen in order for me to have an emotional reaction to it. I could not create my own emotional choice. I just didn't believe I could do that. And so when I read Abraham Hicks saying you could do that, I said, yeah, right. Good luck with that one. But I had listened to so much of what they said and believed so much what they said that I figured, well, if they're saying it, it must be true. And I talked with Louise about it, and she gave me some ideas on how to go about it. The flower exercise where you go examine the flower, that was part of it. And so I just started to try to do it. And then one day I actually managed, I was in kind of like a ho-hum mood, and I actually managed to make myself happy without having an outside stimulus. I said, wow,
Hot damn.
how did I do that? And I couldn't reproduce it for the next week, but I had done it once. So I kept going. And then another time I was able to do it. And then another. And then over time, of course, it just got easier and easier. So now I can just do it whenever I need to. But I can't begin to describe how much of a breakthrough that was to realize I actually did get to choose what my emotional response was in any situation, that I didn't have to be dependent on what my outside stimulus was telling me.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's it right there. This is that realization that you can change it. You don't have to stay in it. And look, when it quits working, it quits working, right? It's like, I've had a lot of people ask me too, like, well, when did this start? How did that happen? It's like, which story would you like? And and I really can't pinpoint those moments except to know that the sacred yes is about stepping into remembering who you are, period. That pivot, though, let's go back to the pivot.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, y'all, listen, pivoting. This is a big deal. Now, in Taya, we call it going up the spiral. And Abraham calls it pivoting. I like the pivot. I like them. They're both the same thing. You're going to get the result, and that is shift what's happening in your life. So either way, it's going to work. Tell me how that you pivot.
At first, I didn't do it very well at all. I literally, like everything else, I stumbled through it. But I had to make it. I think the key to all this is simply making the conscious choice to try, even though you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it, but I'm just going to like stumble around until I find something that works. And I'll talk to everybody I can think of, and I'll read everything I can think of. And then finally, somewhere along the line, I'll figure out how to do it. Well, it's actually pretty easy. Every time that something comes my way that I don't like, I stop myself and say, okay, I know I don't like that, but there is always something about everybody that I can find to like. What is it in this particular case? Or there's something about every situation that comes my way that I can like if I just go look for it. What is it? What's the one thing? And sometimes I have to sit there for quite some time, minutes at a time, sometimes half an hour, sometimes an hour. Well, not so much anymore, but it used to be that long. Yeah. And eventually I'd find something. That's the work. Just sitting there long enough to finally say, well, there's got to be something. There's got to be a redeeming quality in there somewhere.
Sorry.
Just pick your least favorite. Pick a celebrity that you know that you despise, and just think about that person for a minute and say to yourself, there's got to be something about this person. There's got to be something. What is it? What's the one thing? You don't have to come up with one. You don't have to come up with 2 or 3 or 4. Just one. Just come up with one. And if you can do that, you just pivot it. That's pivoting.
Oh, Holy Mother of God.
That's climbing the spiral.
Jiminy crickets. You're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. Oh my God. Jeez, Jiminy crickets. Anybody, listen, if there's anyone out there, there's something in there. You can find it. Well,
you can.
And
if I could do it, anybody could do it. Let me tell you, because I was like the worst at it.
Well, see, and there's a kick in the butt here, because to go from our ego, our edging God out space, from our reptilian brain, when we're in that judgment and that blame and shame and criticism and all those things that are so taught, we're stepping out of our true spirit and our true nature. And in order to have alchemy, true alchemy, to go from the lead of the ego into the spiritual gold you are, and to transform that, that's right, you have to actually be willing to expand how that you're seeing things, people, situations, everything.
In fact, you
Now,
just named something. You just named something that is a great way to practice pivoting. And that is, every spiritual teacher I know talks about stepping out of the ego into the higher self and so forth.
mm-hmm.
And you find something good about the ego. That's the
Oh,
skill.
I love you. Yes, we got to love our ego because our
Yeah.
ego is the ego is it's like our viewer. It's our viewer. It literally is the screen in front of us that's showing us what's up, needs to be looked at and addressed. Because here's the gig. This is just how it is. There's common threads. Jody, I'm about to do it. You know it. It's simple. We all know this. The one commonality is me. So finding the good in another. Well, here's the deal. I also can you find the good within you? If you can see the good within you, you're going to see the good and within another person. See, the thing is that if we ask ourselves out of the space of curiosity and imagine what might possibly be going on in their world that we don't even freaking know about right now, that may be turning them into the biggest, hairiest, gnarliest, whatever that we've ever seen in our whole life.
Yep.
Well, you know what? Empathy, and y'all know how much we love the word empathy. Empathy is about really the willingness to understand the other person's vibe. What's up? Maybe even just using that curiosity to just sit with it and think about that. You know, we don't know that they lost their daughter or son last year. We don't know that maybe that their spouse is passing away. We don't, that's usually, I mean, there's some big things that happen in life. We don't know that they were in a horrible accident and they're just trying to get through it. We don't know anything about their life and what's happened. So, with that, how do we find the good in someone that's acting ugly? How do you find the good? Well, here's I rock the spark all the time, and this is how I rock the spark. So, Walt, my favorite thing to do, and y'all can play along with me. You know how I love to do this. Well, I have I love to make it about me. 5 things, 5 words. You just absolutely dig about me, right? Real quick, off the top of your head, 5 positive, awesome words.
Fun, blonde, exciting, lively. I gotta make it single word, so it's
He's killing me.
a thrill.
A thrill.
It's a
So
thrill.
it's a thrill. And here's the deal. Do you realize you can't see anything in me that you're not? So you're all those things. You and your wife must have oh God, you have a blast with her. Lord, help me. You guys,
We do have fun.
do you all feel me on this? All right. Sit with that. You can't see something you're not. You can't know something you're not. So when you're judging, whether it's in one direction or the other, it doesn't matter which it is, there's truth within that. There's something within that. So everything is juicy, whether it's looking at somebody and you're not seeing them in the right light or in a negative light, or if it's over here. It is really about looking internally, because I mean, this is going to really stretch, but everybody's from the same place, I believe. I mean, I believe we're all a spark of the divine. We're all here. I believe that I call source God in my world, but I believe that God was very creative with a huge imagination and a good one. And we chose to come here and go through this. And I love that we did, because now we're sitting here having this conversation. You know, you and I, that don't know each other, but yet can see the beauty in each other.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
in Connecticut. I'm over here in California, but this gorgeous thing called the internet allows us to do this. And we have this gorgeous audience.
Yep.
I love you guys so very much. Carrie G. Carrie Jeet is here from Taya Boot Camp. I love you. I love you too, Jody. Caring Fine. Look at my Cindy's here. Love you.
I love it.
Kind, caring, adventurous, funny, dedicated. Cindy, sit with that. You just said you saw kind, caring, adventurous, funny, and dedicated. You just told me so much about you that you see in me. Thank you. Rock your spark. I love the Kim knows this. When someone it's a reflection. Everything is, yeah, it's all of it. And then Anna Prabha here says empathy, seeing with the eyes of others, hearing with the ears of others, and feeling with the heart of another. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And then Jody says sparky, spiritual, bubbly. Jody, you just told me so much about you, love. I love this. Rock your spark. Rock
That's
your
a very
spark.
cool tool you got there. I like that. The way that you ask somebody else to give you 5 words and it's really a mirror. I think it's great. That's a good way to describe it.
Why, thank you. I thank you. I believe that we are all doing this, but well, we're just doing this to remind each other of our greatness.
Mm-hmm.
The late great Ram Dass said, "We're all just." How did Anna Prabha knows this really well? Maybe some other of you do. We're all just helping each other find our way home.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I quoted that exact. We're just on this journey together, kind of just holding hands, helping each other back home.
One of my favorite ways to look at this whole thing about being connected, because we are all connected, is that we are all connected and we're all individuals, and they are both happening at the same time. How cool is that? Like
super duper.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, completely. It's so cool. I can't stand it. I mean, I heard, we have a network of 7.6 billion people in this world. That's why we do this.
Mm-hmm.
All of us together as one. And I'm so excited about that.
By the way, here's a pivot question for you. Oh, you just mentioned 7.6 billion people in the world. I guarantee you, if you go out and just sample those 7.6 billion people, a large chunk of them, if you start talking this stuff to them, they're going to look at you cross-eyed. In fact, some of them are going to become hostile about it. So what can you find about that person to pivot on?
The fact that they got up out of bed and that they're there in life.
Good. Yeah.
Just the fact that they're there, the fact that there's this possibility for interaction with leaving the hope of a smile, a hope of joy on a heart that may be sad and broken, feeling broken. We're never broken, ever. I had to just ever. I had to say that. Somebody out there needs to hear that right now. You are never broken. You do not need to be fixed. Never were, ever. Not even in your humanness.
Our fine. What are you talking about?
Yes, exactly. It's our perceptions now and belief systems may be a little out of whack. So those are the ones that, and mine were anyway. So I'm just speaking for me. Anna Prabha, thank you. She says, walking each other home. There it was.
Oh, that's nice.
So the late great Ram Dass said, we are all just walking each other home. And I love that. I love this. Walt, they love you. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Yeah. Thank you for showing up.
Thank you for showing up.
7.6 billion people.
Yeah.
It's
a great exercise to just think about the one person that you despise more than anything else and try to find something good about them. It is an amazingly powerful exercise to do that. It's not easy, but it is amazingly powerful. And by the way, I have a default that I learned after a while of doing this, that it's helpful to have a default. If you can't just find anything else, you find this. And my default is they're doing the best they know how to do. I can say that about anybody. They're doing the best they know how to do.
Praise God.
Yeah.
I love you. Do you guys want to just kiss him right now and hug him? Like on the cheek, just.
I won't tell Louise, I promise.
Well, Louise, it's not, I promise you, because doing the best you can with what you got.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I just had this come up in my life recently. Man. And then I had to sit back and go, she's seriously doing the best she can with what you got. You can't know something until you know it. You got to love it. Now we got to.
And it's amazingly powerful. Yeah. I mean, you experience this. When you say that about somebody that you're just absolutely frustrated with, how quickly does the frustration dissipate? Yeah,
Gone.
yeah,
Gone.
that
Look at
quick.
Walt, they're kissing the phone.
Oh,
They're
that's nice.
kissing the phone. Oh my goodness. Anna Prabha, this is such a I love you, Anna Prabha. Oh yeah. Sometimes if you actually speak some of the weird shit that is in your head, you may find the most unlikely people that can relate, right?
That is true. I do that a lot on my podcast. There are you know how it's like, you're doing a show with somebody and you're on some topic, and then you reach that lull and you're not sure what to go with. And what I learned to do, I suspect you do this too. I kind of get the sense that you do, is you open your mouth and find out what comes out.
Yep.
I mean, right? Isn't
Sorry.
that what you do?
Yes. I open this up and
It
because
just kind of comes out.
and what we call that is conscious channeling.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah.
I seriously. So there's people in this world like David Strickle who do
Oh, yeah.
trance channel, and I love
Mhm.
trance channeling. Then there's people there that we know that like we are conscious channels, but actually I do believe that every single solitary human being on this earth is conscious channeling at all times in some form or another. And actually they're channeling. I shouldn't say I said that wrong.
That's all right.
I said it wrong. No, there's no right wrong. But it wasn't what I meant. They're channeling. What are you going to tune into? What
Mhm.
vibration? What frequency? How important is vibration or frequency, Walt?
Well, without it, I wouldn't be able to channel because literally when I open my mouth, I don't know what's coming out. And the amazing thing to me is when it starts coming out, it actually makes sense. I don't know that it makes sense until I play it back later on. But I play it back, I say, wow, I was pretty smart. And I didn't even know what I was going to say. So, without vibration, how would I have done that? I don't know how I would have done that without vibration. It would be impossible.
I'm totally loving it. Some of my favorite moments of me opening my mouth and not knowing what would come out are now the things I'm known best for. Spark the G vibe is
Yeah,
one of them.
yeah,
It's the gratitude vibration. Spirit flow. Yes, spirituality has gone wild. Have you heard?
yeah. Apparently, yes.
I'm telling you. Speaking of spirituality gone wild, guys, I'm going to do it. I'm going to plug it. Ready? Guess what? I finally did it. The Untamed Club is here. You're going to, and it's unleashed, man. Wild. Wild. So, spiritualitygonewild.com. It's real simple. Use the code gratitude. That's all I got to say. It's like less than the drive through with your family, and the ton of stuff that you get is pretty insane. Well, we have channeling, we have mediumship, we have all kinds of fun stuff. And speaking of mediumship, this coming Monday, y'all, you're gonna love this. We have the Kristen O show coming. This is brand new, straight out of Spirituality Gone Wild. And her first guest is America's most loved medium, Joseph Labruto from Florida. I've had Joseph on many times. I've been to his events live. He's one of the best I've ever seen. He's really, really great. So is Kristen, actually. So this is coming up on Monday. Last night we had Drama to Dharma with Josie Herndon. Now listen, Josie does this every Thursday, but oh my God, last night was an intensely awesome show. Not to mention the fact she's got this new intro, and it was just, I was really excited to see how that it all came together. I kind of did it. That's why it's so awesome. But that's not the point. Anyway, guys, go to spiritualitygonewild.com. But now we're going to do a shift right back to Walt, because Walt, you have a great podcast, which I'm going to put up right now, actually. And that is the LOAtoday.net, correct?
Yep, that's the website. If you want to go directly to the app, loatoday.net/download takes you there. But yeah.
LOAtoday.net and go to the app.
Yep, the app gives you the podcast. It gives you a bunch of goodies, kind of like what you were talking about. It's basically the way to reach out to the show if you want to send in questions. Yeah, it's all in one.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this. You guys can go and listen to all of these awesome shows that Walt brings forward. Hey, Walt, who's coming up on your show this coming week, or who's coming up that you want to share about? Do you have some fun stuff coming?
Oh, geez, there's all kinds of stuff happening. I mean, the biggest news that we've got going on right now is we are now going to be included starting this Monday on local cable access TV, which is kind of a new thing for us. And I feel like I'm kind of breaking new ground here because I don't know anyone else who's doing this, but I'm thinking this is going to be like the next way to keep building audience, which is what I'm all about. I mean, I just like having more and more people to talk to, and it's exciting. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen out of it, but we've been getting really good feedback from the station manager. And in fact, when she asked me what time of day would you like to be on, I said, oh, I mean, I'll fit into whatever your schedule. I mean, prime time obviously is best, but whatever works for you. She gave me 2 time slots, the same show, 4 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. And I thought, well, how cool is that? So something's going to come out of this. I just don't know what it is. It's going to be good.
Congratulations. I mean, that's rock star. I love that. I wanted to. Wow, dude, that's like crazy. You manifested the pants off of that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you how that happened too.
Because,
whoops.
You'll have to wear pants, Walt.
Well, then I won't stand up.
You know what? This is a secret. Josie was telling our secrets last night because we are great. We just get ready from here up. But if you're like me, well, you might be wearing your plaid, your plaid jammies.
There's a reason why they call them podcasts.
I just got to tell y'all, you can do that. It's great. And you can, Walt, he doesn't necessarily like to wear pants when he's doing podcasts from what we're understanding. Like shorts, something, I don't know. Oh my God, Walt. So, Jesus Louise. Check this out.
I'll tell you, the whole thing with the TV started with my Friday co-hosts, Rita Giganti and Linda Armstrong. Rita Giganti, by the way, is an interesting person because she is the daughter of the ex-crime boss of New York City, Vinny Giganti. And she has a whole story that goes along with that. But she's also a psychic. And so she brings that psychic capability to the show. And there was this one show we were doing in July where we had a whole bunch of psychic questions for her. So it was just like one after another after another. And she stops in the middle of it and says, Walt, I got a message for you. And I said, oh, okay. Like, what am I setting up for her, right? She says, you need to have your own radio station. And I thought quickly, I said, well, that would be cool. Okay, I'm open to it. No, you need to have your own radio station. That's what Spirit is telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so we kind of left it there, and I had no idea what to do with that information at all. About a week went by, and then we did my next show with them, always on Fridays in their particular case. And so I brought it up with Rita that time. I said, well, okay, so Spirit sent me this message. I don't know what to do with it. What should I do with that message? I mean, I don't know where to buy. I don't have the money to buy a radio station. Where do I get a radio station? And she says, well, that's a fair question. So let's ask Spirit. And it just kind of turned into this ongoing thing that led to me finding this local cable access channel in my area, reaching out to them and them saying, yeah, sure, let's put your show on. Like, huh? I had no plans for this. None whatsoever. This was not on the agenda at all. The only thing that I was interested in was just continuing to build the audience. And Spirit found a way to say, well, duh, why aren't you doing television?
I mean, seriously. But that's where this is all headed, you see. And how you get from point A to point B? It's the same. You're going to go, it's going to happen. How that you choose to perceive it and how you go about it and react to it or respond to it is how you're going to shift it, right? Or wrong?
Well, it's also just not being resistant, just saying, I don't have to know how this is going to work. Yeah, sure. I didn't have a clue what was going to happen next. I didn't have a clue how to make any of it happen. I didn't try. I just let it happen. I just let stuff, and it just kind of naturally bubbled up. I didn't have any agenda. I didn't take any steps. I didn't know what steps to take.
Right.
I literally put out on one of my episodes, I don't know what steps to take. Somebody got to send me some information about what steps to take. Spirit, send something to me. I don't get it. What do I do next? And that's literally what happened. Well, it's just going with what comes to you.
I love that you're even bringing this up. My God, I know we're on the hour, everybody. Just hang tight because we got to keep going just for a sec. Uh, okay, so not knowing what you're doing,
Mhm.
Walt. Hello, I got you on this. I love that she brought this divine timing. I agree, Kim, but
Totally.
geez, sweet. I love this. We don't, and we think we've got to pound the pavement, work our asses off to the grind. And sometimes, now I'm not telling you you don't need to put the action in, because the action you do have to put in.
Action is very valuable, but it's not a requirement in order to attract.
In order to attract, correct, absolutely. Our vibration, our attitude, and our attitude of gratitude and joy, and that is what I believe brings it. But man, I'm going to tell you, I'm the first one to raise my hand and say, I don't know. I mean, I got to build this platform. Okay, I
Mhm.
did that. Now it's have this membership base where people can come and go to our virtual convergence center and hang out with you and
Mhm.
actually get to talk to you, and
Mhm.
we can play our own music. And I love you, Facebook, but kind of bite lately. And
I
I
love
mean,
it.
well, really, but allowing that manifestation to occur, it's like, and then knowing that you don't know what you're doing and then willing to admit it, man, that's a whole new form of recovery. Hello, amen.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Jeez.
that's what it took me 8 years to learn to do.
It's not, that is not for a week, dear.
No, it isn't.
A week
No.
of hot.
Yeah,
No, no,
yeah.
because you have to be okay with the fact that I mean, God, you're a man too. That's a pickle and a half for you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, and you asked the
Oh,
question earlier. You asked the question, looking back, do I appreciate what it was that I went through to get here? Well, that's how I appreciate it.
oh
Look
yeah.
what that I went through got me to.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I never would have gotten here if I had just given in to, oh God, I don't know what to do. I quit. I
Those
mean,
thoughts
that would have been
come.
the end of it,
Yeah, but
right?
yeah, well, totally. I still have those thoughts. They still
Sure.
have this, fuck, I can't
I
do it
still have those
anymore,
thoughts. What are
man.
you talking
Yeah,
about?
I just like I am not even, yeah. The difference is they come and I recognize them because I'm mindful that they're there.
Yeah,
Our first step in life is become like we become aware of things, but then all of a sudden we become mindful, and now we can make a choice, as Walt said, to shift. And that's what happens. But it's that not knowing, not being attached to the outcome, not, and then practicing the art of that non-interference, getting out of the way. You see, the not knowing is getting out of the way, and now y'all know the secret to the secret.
that's right.
You see, it's
Yeah.
true. That is the
That's
secret to the secret of the
And
secret.
it confused me at the very beginning. What do you mean get out of your own way? I don't even know how to do that. That was my first answer. How
Yeah,
do I get
right?
out of my own way?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't get it.
yeah.
It took me years just to learn what the question was.
Cheers, Cuppa Grata. Mm.
Right back at you.
Shot of expression, 2 squirts of reality. What a rock solid, awesome, fun co-squirt you are. Thank you for coming in and sparking our G vibe all
My,
morning long. Whew.
this is fun.
Okay.
This is what I'm about, is having fun. So thank you for bringing me in to have fun. This is great.
You bet. Debbie's Playground's always a place to come and have fun and spark your G vibe. So, I mean, I know that sounds absolutely horrible, doesn't it? Ah! You want to hear one worse? I get paid to be me, and my mouth makes me money. Yeah, no, not. See? Instantly. Not like that. No, like this. The thing, belief in yourself. And I think that that's really what this overall hour and a few minutes have been about, is trusting the divine, trusting the path that you're on through your heart conscious space, and being okay with not knowing where the hell it's going. And so that's it right there. And just showing up for the ride.
It's one hell of a ride.
Yep. When you've lost it all, mm, then everything, yeah, yeah. It all just makes sense. My last thing I'll leave everybody with is go look up 6 a.m. SIXX AM. The song is called Life is Beautiful.
Hmm.
Sometimes it takes a trail of blood to find your way back home. Warning, it is Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue. So it's definitely going to be some rock and roll. Going to pump you up. Conscious is a choice to be happy and invite in the positive. I love you, Anna Prabha. Jody says, my mom used to say, get out of your own way all the time. Awesome. Your vibes rock. You rock. I love you. Anna Prabha, I'm so glad you were here. Kim and everybody else. And Cindy and people, if I missed your names or if you're watching and I don't know you're here, I love you. And I will see you tomorrow morning on Unify for Women Rising the Conscious View. You will also see me here on Spirituality Gone Wild. Take a look at our new website, spiritualitygonewild.com. Join our Untamed Club. It's under $20 if you use the word gratitude. Gratitude. You guys can't forget that. Remember, who are you grateful for? All right. Peace.